We respectfully acknowledge the Dutjahn people as the traditional owners of the land in which this video was filmed.
Hi, I'm Crystal Kinsella. I'm a proud Jawoyn and Wiradjuri woman, a supply diversity expert and published author. Welcome to Meet the Mob, a YouTube series dedicated to showcasing Black excellence in business. Here I get to interview deadly First Nation business owners from around the country and learn about their why. Today I'm joined by Katina Law from IPS Management Consultants, who will share with us her why she got into business and why she does what she does. So to kick it off, hey Katina. Tell us who you are. Who's your mob?
So I'm from Derby originally. I'm Worora and Walmajarri, and I live in Perth on beautiful Whadjuk country.
Yeah, we have lots of history between us, and I think it'd be really remiss of me not to acknowledge just how incredible you are and what a great mentor you've been to me through the years. So Katina and I, for those that don't know, were in business together for 5 years in IPS. But I mean, it's not about that today, but I guess I really wanted to acknowledge what a great mentor you've been to me and how much I learnt from you on that journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So look, Katina, you're a formidable woman. I think you're a very unsung hero. You're one of these women that like to stay in the background. Tell us a little bit about your why. Like what drives you? Because you are a very driven woman.
So when I think about my why, I think my purpose these days is really to improve the lives of Indigenous people. I do that in many different ways, through my businesses, through my not-for-profits, through my work with my own family, and that's what really drives me these days.
Most definitely, and you have like a resounding impact on people through the work that you do. So let's just talk, where do you want to start? We're going to talk about some of your work. I mean, IPS is one of many businesses that you've been involved in. Do you want to start with IPS?
Well, yes, we can start with IPS. So IPS was started in 2015 and you joined us very shortly afterwards in early 2016. And from going from basically the three directors, myself, Crystal and Damien Chalk, we now have over the past 8 years grown to be about 70 plus people. It's changing every day. Certainly even in the last 3 months, we've had phenomenal growth. So IPS is a management consultant business. Our main, we mostly work for government, so federal government, state government and large corporates. And we do work in quite a few different areas. So we have a First Nations advisory practice, which is led by Yana. We also have organisational capability, research policy and evaluation, business advisory, and a new division called Workforce Solutions. So in those areas, a lot of the work we do is actually mainstream work, but I guess we also do a lot of work with Indigenous people as well. And we work with our clients to implement programs and develop their cultures so that, life is better for Indigenous people.
Most definitely. So talk to us a little bit about some of your board roles. And I want to actually acknowledge the fact that not a lot of people know, but you were one of the first Aboriginal women to sit on an ASX-listed company board.
Yeah, so I was the first Aboriginal woman to actually be the CEO of an ASX-listed company and also the first to chair an ASX-listed company. Mm. And that actually happened a really long time ago for me. It happened in about, I'm just trying to think now, 2012. And, to be the CEO, and then in about 2016, I became a chair. And so for me, that's sort of quite a long time ago, but I guess, like you said, I never really talk about myself. So, that's just something I've sort of started talking about recently because people seem to think that it's important.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like just something I wanted to do. And I still sit on one ASX listed board. I'm just a non-exec on a small exploration company. So my background is actually in mining. So, I spent 30 years in the mining industry. Worked all around the world, lots of different countries and different types of commodities, and done a lot before I started any of my businesses. So if that was sort of like the first phase of my career, and now I'm sort of into a different phase where I'm much more entrepreneurial. And I think going to London Business School, which I went to in about 20 years ago now, that really brought out my entrepreneurial spirit, and it made me really want to be an entrepreneur. But I didn't really have the opportunity until IPS came along. Yeah. But, as well as IPS, I've helped found Dutjahn Sandalwood Oils, which is a 50% Aboriginal-owned business, and we manufacture sandalwood oil, which we sell into the international perfume market. And our clients include Estee Lauder, Aveda, Aesop, Lush, Tom Ford, quite a few big names use our product, and it's a very special, unique ingredient that is made from Australian sandalwood oil, and which, we have Aboriginal people all through the supply chain of that product, and we give back through the foundation as well. So.
Yeah, that's such an incredible journey with the sandalwood oils, and to be on that sort of global stage, it's a real trailblazing.
Yeah, so we were the first
venture.
Australian company or organisation to win an Equator Prize, which is a prize given out by the UN Development Program for really unique Indigenous solutions to the UN sustainability, sustainable development goals. They thought that we were a really outstanding example of how Aboriginal people can create economic wealth and live on country and work on country as well.
It's such a great achievement. So you said you just talked about being in this second phase of your life or your career trajectory. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I've obviously got IPS, I've got Dutjahn Sandalwood Oils, I sit on a few boards, but I've also founded a number of not-for-profits, and all of my not-for-profits relate to Indigenous people, and they are, I think they all operate in geographically different locations, and I think that's really important because I'm actually really committed to the regions and improving the lives for people that live remotely. So the IPS Foundation, which really has only got going in the last few years, we work in the West Kimberley with people. We work with organisations that are already on country trying to do things and help them build their capability so that they can do it better and be successful in delivering those programs. So we did a program with the men's group in Fitzroy Crossing, and we actually sent someone to Fitzroy for 3 months, and she lived there and helped them develop their policies and procedures and their operational plan, and really just move them to the next level. Yeah. So it's about getting around the people that already live in the West Kimberley and are trying to benefit Aboriginal people and supporting them. We also do a fair bit in the entrepreneurship space as well in Western Australia for Aboriginal regional entrepreneurs through the foundation. And then I have the Dutjahn Foundation, which is quite focused on Walloona at the moment. But our remit is really to work with all Indigenous people in sandalwood growing regions. So, that could include anywhere from the Central Deserts down to Esperance and even across to Perth. So we have two kind of focuses. One is building strong communities, and the other is building sustainable communities, so helping people manage their sandalwood resource. so we've done a few things in Wooloona. We bought some IT for their youth centre, which really changed the lives of quite a lot of young people. So we bought 7 complete gaming stations with chairs and like the headphones and everything, and that in such a hot place, like over the summer holidays, for example, you can just imagine what a difference it makes to these children, who don't normally have access to technology. We've also started a youth ranger program in Wooloona that works with the 2 adult ranger programs and works with the school as well. And we're working with Aboriginal people that want to get into actually harvesting sandalwood. So a lot of Aboriginal people with native title rights can harvest sandalwood in their own right if they have exclusive possession. And so working with them to help them get licenses and what they need to get going in their own business. Yeah. And then I've got Bianananquit Institute, which is based here on Noongar land, and that is set on the site of old Sister Kate's home for children. And so it's a significant site for the stolen generation. It's actually part of the Uniting Church, and we're really trying to develop it as a space that sparks joy for Aboriginal people, a place where people can go and actually have fun rather than be delivered services like drug and alcohol or child protection, or we want a place where Aboriginal people can go and have fun. And so we do art and music and cooking and those sorts of things, and create a safe space for people, because a lot of Aboriginal people don't want to go, they don't feel comfortable going to a cafe or a restaurant,
Yeah. Well, I can almost say, what aren't you doing? Because there's a lot in all of that in regards to, having that focus in the regions and more remote places, cultivating capability, inspiring entrepreneurship, working with young people and youth, and then obviously here on Noongar country working with families. But I like how you use the word joy, like just creating a really safe space in that. So where do you love to spend the most, the majority of your time? Because you're a really busy woman and there's a lot going on.
Well, obviously I've got, 3 kids as well and a husband, so I spend time with them. But, I don't know, it just sort of, it goes around. So some things need me when they need me, and I just sort of, move from place to place. But I have to admit IPS is taking quite a lot of time at the moment, just because it's growing so rapidly. And, there's still, I feel like there's so much potential in that space. So, it's just, there's just too much to do. Sometimes I just want to stop and lie down and do nothing. I feel guilty if I do that.
Definitely. Well, you should be so proud of the success of IPS, because IPS, was one of those real original businesses that build off the back of the Indigenous procurement policy.
Absolutely.
Back from 2015 onwards.
Yeah, and I have to say you had a big part to play in that as well. 5 years at that significant time of growth, made a big difference.
Yeah, but it's been just such a trailblazer of a business. And then obviously, as you said, as it's growing and emerging, and you've just been through a rebrand process as well, which is, I guess the start of a new chapter on that journey.
Yeah, I wanted a brand that could really take us to through the next sort of 6 or 7 or 8 years as well. Like you don't want to change a brand too much. But again, I wanted a brand that kind of sparked joy. Yeah. And I think you can see that in the colours and the patterns and everything.
It's so vibrant,
But the brand also reflects creating meaningful pathways for Indigenous people, which I think has always been a strong part of the IPS brand, and something we've lived in and out over the years, creating opportunities for economic development and creating pathways for Indigenous people to become consultants, because there's so few Indigenous consultants, and yet we are the most consulted people in Australia. And so creating that environment where, people can learn to be a consultant and be mentored and developed through that process is a big part of what we do at IPS.
Yeah, creating those pathways, most definitely.
So, and we still have 30% Indigenous employment.
That's phenomenal. That's
really good. We have 70 odd people, let's say 70 people, and 30% Indigenous employment.
Yeah. So what's the future hold for Katina? What's the legacy piece?
Well, I think going back to IPS, the legacy is definitely about creating. What I want to create is a business that is bigger than me. It's bigger than everyone in that business. It's sustainable, but it also becomes a really solid part of the Australian business landscape.
Yeah.
And that, we talk about, PwC and KPMG, and we talk about Nous. I want IPS to be up there with those brands and to really be a trusted partner for government and also for large corporates that they feel confident that they can use. And part of creating something that's bigger than all of us is that we get to the scale where we can really bring more. We can have a graduate program. We can bring people into the business. There's more pathways. It becomes more sustainable. And I want, ideally, for it to live on well past me.
It's a great legacy. Well, what happens next for Katina, though?
Well, right now we just keep swimming. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Keep going.
And I really want to see all my not-for-profits also move into being sustainable and self-sustaining and not relying on me. And I think, the Dutjahn Foundation is almost there. The IPS Foundation has ways to go, and the Annan Quirt also has a ways to go. So they're all at different levels of maturity. So moving those to a point where they can be self-sustaining as well. And then I'll put my feet up and relax.
I don't think you ever will, though. So look, if you had a final message for my audience, people that are watching today, what would it be?
Well, I think that's a really difficult question, but, I think we all just need to back ourselves. We need to be confident and assertive, and we have every right to be part of the Australian business landscape. And, we belong here. And, we just have to keep putting ourselves out there, even though it might be uncomfortable. And we can do it. We become accepted and we become part of the landscape. So,
Well, thanks so much for joining me, Katina. I really wanted to have you on my show. I think you've had such a great career trajectory. You mean a lot to me. You've been a great mentor. I've learnt so much from you. And I just appreciate your time today. So thanks so much.
Well, thanks for having me, Crystal. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed the latest episode of Meet the Mob. Make sure you connect with Katina online, share her story with your networks. Until next time.